The best and worst films of 2020. I think we can all agree this has been an odd year for film, but surprisingly, there was some gems to come out of the mix. So I wanted to gather the troops and go over the best and the worst of 2020. I have Eric, Sean, and Hannah here. I'm going to start off with Eric Eisenberg, our senior film critic. That seems like the logical place to begin. Bro, what was your favorite film of 2020?
Like you said, it was a weird year, and it felt like there were some great movies that came out, but then kind of just didn't really make any impact because of everything that happened. But here we are at the end of the year, and I have to say that my favorite film of 2020 is Emerald Fennell's Promising Young Woman, which honestly just blew me away in every single capacity. It's thrilling, it's funny, it's gut-punching. It's every single emotional, visceral experience you can hope to get from a film.
It's a day of reckoning.
Just delivered in the span of about 2 hours. Carey Mulligan delivers what is the best performance of her career. It's unreal. And Emerald Fennell, she has some credits. She's actually been an actress for a few years. She's a producer on Killing Eve. This is the first time that she has written and directed a feature. And honestly, it is just one of the most stunning feature debuts that I have seen in years. I really can't undersell just how this movie just completely blew my mind.
Can I hop in here? Because my pick is also Promising Young Woman.
For real?
Excuse me, yes. I got to see it last night. I saw it last night, and I literally woke up this morning and I could not stop thinking about it. I'm still fully processing all of the emotions, but what Eric said about just every single visceral experience that you could want a movie to give you, this movie gives you. It is insanely good, and I don't think we can really say anything else about it because I luckily did not know that much about it before I watched it, and I think that that's what you need to have going into it.
All right, Promising Young Woman. That's your best pick. I like it. Let's mix it up a little. What's the worst movie of 2020?
The worst movie of 2020. So, I saw some real stinkers at the start of this year. For example, I think that Sonic the Hedgehog, I don't know what anybody sees in that movie. I think it is a complete disaster.
Good time.
Fantasy Island, also just, I don't know what, I don't know how anyone, how that movie got through the entire process of making a feature film and nobody said, is this crap? I think this is crap. I don't know. It didn't happen. And it really should have. I set a pretty low bar at the start of this year. However, the prize that I will deliver in this realm of worst movie of 2020, I will give to Kenneth Branagh's Artemis Fowl, because this is just a movie that feels like there was no plan going in. And I should mention, I'm not a fan of the books. I didn't carry in any fanhood baggage or massive expectations for it. But I do have some expectations when Kenneth Branagh is directing a movie. I know he's a capable filmmaker and has been for decades at this point. Not in this one. It is just so slapdash, so ridiculous that it doesn't even look good. Honestly, it should have been a warning that while Disney was basically delaying their entire slate, that they were fine just dropping Artemis Fowl on Disney Plus. That was the first warning sign. And I took the bait. I watched it the first weekend it dropped on the streaming service, and boy, was I shocked by how bad it was.
Doesn't it has Colin Farrell, right? And is Judi Dench?
Judi Dench is in it. Yeah. Again, it feels like somebody hit Kenneth Branagh over the head with a rock every morning before production started. It baffled me.
Yeah, and that's such a testament to 2020 with Kenneth Branagh and an all-star cast. Even the poster art looks ridiculous. What are they trying to do here? So, all right, with Eric, we have Promising Young Woman and Artemis Fowl. Sean, our managing editor, what was your best movie of 2020?
I will quickly echo the sentiment on Promising Young Woman. It's phenomenal. Definitely check it out when you get a chance to. I went with something a little bit different. My best film of 2020 so far, with a few titles still to see before the year fully ends, is Pixar's new film Soul by Pete Docter, which blew me away. it's one of those films where the first time I went through it, I wasn't quite 100% sure what I was seeing, because it really reaches for places that even Pixar films don't necessarily go. Pete Docter also directed Inside Out. That's like an appetizer for the type of things that he's discussing here. He gets into the power of the afterlife. What are we actually doing with our lives? If we have a dream that we are chasing, is it the right dream? And how much time should we spend chasing after it versus helping other people live the life that they are meant to live to their fullest? It is some of the most exquisite animation that I've seen ever. Like, Pete Docter and his team took on the idea of animating the afterlife, and because of that, it comes with a lot of creativity in terms of what they can portray with souls in the great beyond and the great before. It has a lot of great physical comedy that will attract to kids, and it's just like, I watched it through. I was really floored by everything that it reached for, and because I had a screening link of it, I was really lucky to be able to the next day go back and rewatch it. I immediately wanted to watch it again, and I truly felt that the second time through, I unlocked even more of what the film was trying to do. And so I kind of love that people are going to get a chance to see this on Disney Plus on Christmas Day, because you will want to go back and revisit it like immediately. No matter what I see for the rest of this year, I think it's going to have a hard time topping Soul. There's a sequence toward the end of it that involves Jamie Foxx's character Joe at a piano with a montage that is, to me, one of the most beautiful sequences that Pixar has ever put to animation, and it's amazing. It's truly, truly wonderful. That's the best thing I've seen.
How sad is it?
I feel like I'm having
it's like metaphorically sad. Like, it's not like there's an emotional gut punch, but like a week after you've watched it, you will just break down sobbing because you realize that you haven't spent your life properly.
Oh God!
I don't want to watch.
I can't watch.
No, you do. You
That's
do.
what you want. No,
squandered
you
your
do.
potential.
You really do.
You honestly do.
I will also
Yeah.
just quickly throw into that conversation because yes, I agree. Soul is now my new favorite Pixar movie. Like, it was Inside Out, but this is
Wow.
just like the next, like you said, it's just the next level of it. But also just like the score by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, and the music
man.
by John
Yeah.
Baptiste. Holy shit! Like,
Yeah.
what it is
really
like?
phenomenal.
There's the sequence, and this isn't really a spoiler because it's in the trailer. But like, after Joe dies, when he's first facing the great beyond, like the music cue that kicks in there is just like, oh, yeah.
I mean, that's really a testament to Pixar and Pete Docter that they are able to make animated movies that a seasoned film critic like Sean says is the best movie of the year. Like, we are really in the golden age of animation.
I can't wait
man.
to see how kids react to it. I'm genuinely curious to see how kids respond to...
It's an adult's movie. It's not for kids.
Yeah.
Like, I think the Pixar brand has kind of convinced you that way, and kids can watch it. They can enjoy it. But this is a movie that parents and like adults are meant to get the most out of, not kids. 'Cause I'm not sure they can wrap their brains around it yet.
I'm really having an existential crisis just hearing you guys talk about it. So before I start thinking about my squandered potential, Sean, what's your least favorite movie of the year?
This is going to anger Eric, but you could very easily go with something like Artemis Fowl, or a Bloodshot, or something
I'm
that's
so
just
excited
a
'cause
true
Eric looks
piece
so
of
nervous.
garbage. But the film that angered me the most, the more I thought about it, was Charlie Kaufman's I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
No.
Which is as pretentious and ridiculous as movies get. Nothing about it worked for me. I guess I kind of understand what he's trying to do, but it turned me off completely as a film. It's one of those ones where like you're curious about it for a half an hour, 45 minutes through it, because you're like, all right, where is this going to go? Like, he's trying a lot of really weird things. It's about a couple who are driving to visit his family, and whether they're going to end their relationship or not. I think on the surface, that's kind of what it's about. But it just gets stranger and stranger and stranger to the point where none of it mattered. Then by the last 10 or 15 minutes of it, a few things happened that made me so furious that I grew to truly hate it. And if you go back to the screening log that we have as a staff, I gave it 2 stars because I do think that the performances by the two Jessies are good. They're compelling. But the package as a whole makes me really, really angry. And it's one of those films that the more I see people praise it, the more I hate it. Because I don't think it's good at all, and so I'm gonna chalk that up as the worst thing I saw this year.
It does get incredibly metaphorical. So, and I understand because I also was like reflecting on it, trying to make sense of it. Like, I don't know if the point is prevalent enough, but the dialogue is so great that I could just watch them talk in a car for hours because it's so compelling. It's just two really kind of pseudo-intellectual but well-spoken characters throwing out these ideas of life. And in that regard, I mean, that's what Kaufman's good at, so that's what I like
Sometimes.
but anyway, and I like that pick and how it conflicts with Eric's, because these are our critics here. But Hannah Saulic,
Yes.
our head of video, what was your favorite film of the
So
year?
best, and I think maybe favorite, but I haven't had time to like marinate on it yet, is probably still Promising Young Woman. But I will give an honorable mention to Palm Springs.
There's a bomb in the cake. Don't worry, I used to be a bomb guy.
I've got some similar themes in like all of my movies for best, worst, and favorite this year, where it's like, don't know anything about it before you watch it. I was lucky enough to literally not know anything about Palm Springs. I had just heard that like it was really fucking good. So I was like, I'm gonna turn it on. And it was fantastic. It was so much fun to watch. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I think it was
Summer throwback.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. So I'd recommend it if you haven't seen it. And that's all I'm gonna say about it because I don't want to ruin anything if you haven't seen it.
Well, yeah, we can. I think we can spoil the idea that it's a Groundhog Day-esque
No,
concept.
cut that out.
That's
no.
that's in the trailer.
I had no idea. I didn't watch the trailer. See, like, I don't think I would have liked it as much if I knew that going in.
That's interesting,
But-
because I knew it and still wanted to see like how it played out. I still was.
Yeah.
It probably is great going in not knowing anything, but
When
I
the
still was
day
fascinated by it.
restarted, I was like floored. I was like, oh my fucking god, this is
Oh,
gonna
that's
be so
cool.
much fun. Which I just
that's
so
great.
if
Oh,
you
that's
can go
great.
in with that experience, do.
those two together are really great too.
Oh, they had great chemistry, and like everyone was like kind of shocked at how good it was. Like it's kind of getting a resounding nod of approval. Palm Springs summer throwback. It's good to get a pretty much straight comedy in the mix. But Hannah, what was your least favorite movie of the year?
So something triggered me that Sean just said about I'm thinking of ending things and that it was the most pretentious movie. But no, the most pretentious movie of this year was Alison
wait.
Brie and Jeff Baina's Horse Girl on Netflix. And Jeff Baina does a lot of abstract films. You know, I really liked The Little Hours. So it wasn't that I had a problem with just the fact that this was a more abstract, weird movie, but if you're gonna have an abstract, weird movie, you have to actually like say something or like wanna know what you're exploring. And the first half of the movie actually does a really good job of like setting up suspense, and like Alison Brie gives a great performance. And then by the time the third act hits, you realize like, oh, these filmmakers didn't really have a point that they were trying to make, and they don't really even know
Right.
what they're doing. And it just, again, I don't want to spoil the ending, but it's just, it makes no fucking sense. And I feel like there were people in a room and they were like, what are we doing here? What are we trying to say? And they were like, exactly. Like there was no like why to anything, and it's terrible. Terrible.
Those types of movies, they leave it up to the viewer to make sense of it, and they want you to feel like if you can't, you're the idiot.
They
You
were
know what
like,
I mean?
we'll just
Like-
do a bunch of stuff that isn't coherent and doesn't like lead to a larger point, and then people will be like, oh, it was really good. And that's not the case at all. It's terrible. Terrible. And I was excited because Alison Brie, I think it was her first screenplay, and I was like, oh, let's like see if she can write. This is cool. And it was supposed to be like based on her personal experiences or like her grandma's experience or something. And I'm just like, ooh.
She's had a crazy year because she's in Promising Young
Yeah.
Woman, and she was also in The Rental, which is worth checking out. That was pretty well done by Dave Franco. So she had a very interesting year.
She's had a crazy,
the end of Glow was
crazy
really
couple
sad.
of years. I don't know, man. I think if you're gonna make a movie called Horse Girl, which is like one of the worst film titles possible, it has to be like really good. You know what I mean? Like you have to justify that title by being like, oh, it's kind of ironic, or like this movie's so good, you can call it Horse Girl. That's just-
I don't even know what that movie's about. I'm kind of intrigued, but I won't watch it.
It's about like a female centaur kind of thing.
It's not what it's about. Let me read. I'm going to read the synopsis for you. It says, Sarah, a socially isolated woman with a fondness for arts and crafts, horses, and supernatural crime shows, finds her increasingly lucid dreams trickling into her waking life. Interesting premise.
No.
That sounds like they're gonna fuck you with metaphor.
But they don't. There is no metaphor. That's the problem, is that they don't.
Okay, well, this has been a weird year for the industry. We've lost out on some opportunities, but I mean, I think that we've established in this conversation, there's also been some really good films to come out of it. And like going over them at the end of the year, I was even surprised myself. Another honorable mention, Ma Rainey, is a really fantastic script. Everyone should check that movie out.
You don't know nothing about what kind of blood I got, what kind of heart I got beat here.
But yeah, we got a lot of cool picks here. To the audience, let us know what you think in the comments below. What's your favorite movies of 2020? What's your least favorite movies of 2020? Eric, Sean, Hannah, thanks for hanging out.
Bye, all.